the new year. It's 2021, baby.
I feel so different. It's amazing.
What's changed for you, Matthew?
Oh, I nothing.
Excellent. And you, Steve?
I'm not allowed to do the intros anymore.
No, you did a great job, mate. You really did.
That's not what your lawyer said.
Well, my lawyer's a crab, so there's not much I can do about that. Yes, we are the Trailer Island podcast, and we talk about films in the trailers. Did the trailer
Live up to the movie?
No, did the movie deliver what the trailer promised? That's what we do. And we're stuck here on this tropical island that is Trailer Island because there's nothing else for us to do but talk about trailers.
Which is actually not a bad life, really, is it?
Not really.
No.
Except for the disease. But.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it was a blessing with the film we're talking about today.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this was delightful.
Just back to my comment before, Matthew, you seem rather perturbed by my lawyer being...
my lawyers have told me that we weren't allowed to discuss the lawyers, so now I'm quite conflicted. I'm not quite... I don't know what to do. I'm panicking.
My doctor has said we should talk about lawyers more.
We are cross purposes here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are. Yes. Well, to celebrate, you know what? I don't even know what, but I feel like we're starting the year off on a high. We had two films that we've managed to be able to see in the last week, and we thought, you know what? Which one do we want to do first? And we had this film, and we thought we could also discuss Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Both new releases over the Christmas New Year period. And we thought, what a better way to start the year off with than not arguing about the quality of a film.
Starts the year off with the film that deserved to be in theatres.
Yeah.
So this is obviously a Disney Plus film as well. And I have to admit, I felt a bit cheated that I didn't get to see this on the big screen.
Yes, well, I think from that you can gather that we are talking about Wonder Woman next week.
Spoiler alert.
And this week, who would like to introduce this one?
I'll give it a crack. We're going to be talking about the new Pixar film, Soul.
What is this place?
What's your name, honey?
I'm Joe. I teach middle school band. Got it, go for it! Today started out as the best day of my life.
Back here tonight, first show's at 7.
Yes! Woohoo! You know what that's gonna say? Joe Gardner. I did it. I got the gig.
Must have been sudden for you.
Wow! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Help! I'm not done! Oh my goodness! Huh? Is this heaven?
No, it's the great before. This is where new souls get their personalities, quirks, and interests before they go to Earth.
Meet 22.
I don't want to go to Earth.
Stop fighting this.
I don't want to.
Hey, look, I already know everything about Earth, and I don't want anything to do with it.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. I can't smell. We can't taste either?
All that stuff is in your body.
No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
Okay, I get it. Wow, it's my life.
Is all this living really worth dying for? You're still alive?
Can you help me get back?
No way!
There I am. What are we waiting for?
Wait, not me!
This weird.
What is it?
151,000 souls going to the great beyond every day, and I count every single one of them. The count's off.
Huh.
That's a great trailer.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that represents the film pretty well, actually.
I think it represents the first act of the film really well.
It doesn't give stuff away.
It
That's what I
don't,
love
yeah.
about it. It's like the first, third for the first act.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, you get these wonderful surprises as you go through. Like, you know what the film's going to be from that. So this guy has died, and goes to what they call the Great... Well, he escapes basically going up into heaven.
The Great Beyond.
The Great Beyond,
yeah.
And ends up in the Great Before, which is before people have been born. And obviously wants to get back to the real world and encounters some friends along the way.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
succinct.
Pretty accurate. And he's a passionate jazz musician, and music plays a really big role in this. Every bit of it was just sublime.
No, it really is. Yeah.
The music in this film was, I thought, like one of the massive standouts. Like, I really wasn't expecting this from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
No, so I was surprised to see these two guys on this soundtrack. So they've worked with David Fincher a lot recently. I think they're from 9 Inch Nails, aren't they?
That's correct.
Yes, that's right.
And I guess just because of what David Fincher does, a lot other than Mank, obviously, which is a very period soundtrack, they're very broody.
Yeah, they
and
are.
Very synth,
very synth, very heavy, solid noise.
Suspenseful, I'd call it.
Yeah, and we've got these two worlds. So we've got the soul world and we've got the real world. And when we're in those separate worlds, we've got two completely different soundtracks. In the real world, we've got Joe's jazz and all that stuff. And then in the before and afterlife places, it's mostly the Great Before. We've got this dark and brooding, ethereal music, but it's not always dark and brooding. It has there's a lot more light moments. Probably we're used to, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross giving us really sort of this heavy duty stuff, but in this they lighten it up and they match the film beautifully.
Well, they create the atmosphere really nicely, especially when they're in the soul world. I felt that kind of gave it an ethereal feel, which it probably is, quite fitting for where they are. I thought it was very nice.
So Joe ends up in the Great Before, where he spends a lot of his time, and he meets a little soul called 22.
That's right, yeah.
And 22 has been around a long time, because as we heard in the trailer, she wants nothing to do with Earth. And I guess the story is really about the things that they teach each other. Is that what we'd say?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that a lot of the characters... Well, most of the characters have an arc in this, and they all learn something. And I think that's why it's such a fulfilling movie, is that all these characters are on their own journeys, but they all help each other in their own way in certain respects. But yeah, I think it's really nice that they have different goals, but they all kind of learn to appreciate what they should or what is right for them.
Could someone please clarify? I was sort of like a little bit fuzzy on this, but they talk about souls getting sparks, and I was really unclear about that concept.
Well,
they explore in the film that your spark doesn't really necessarily mean what you're born to do.
No, but I think it's a bit hard to answer without giving away the ending a little bit, and I do want to try and avoid that.
Yeah,
but I think, so these souls in the Great Before have to complete their personality template, if you want to call it that, before they get their what's called an Earth Pass, so that they can then travel down to Earth and be born. And there's ambiguity.
That's right.
Got it right, yeah. As to whether or not this spark is your purpose in life or just something that you really get a kick out of and makes you appreciate life. And I think that's one of the central themes of this movie is what do you take for granted in life, and what should you appreciate, that kind of thing.
I think that explains it quite well. Thank you, Matt.
Okay, I hesitate only because I didn't want to ruin the end of the film.
No.
Yeah. Now, before we go on any further, I do want to talk about the streaming aspect of this. So this is a Pixar film. The colors, the design, all fantastic. I think Pixar have a fairly flawless record, really, in that department. So it would have been great to have seen this on the cinema screen, but on the flip side, on a technical aspect, I was able to stream this in 4K. And I have to admit, the colors and just the contrast levels actually looked incredible on the TV. And I'm wondering if it would have looked that good. It would have sounded better, obviously, in the cinema. But I'm wondering if it looked better on the 4K TV than it did on... I'm assuming they're just HD projectors here on the island. I don't think they're 4K projectors, are they?
What I would say to that, Matt, is you're a special beast, because you spent a good 2 weeks setting up the color scheme.
I did,
and all that in your TV. Your TV is cut for you. It is.
No, that's true. And just to clarify there, I have photos of all my settings on my phone just in case my TV resets. That way I don't lose the settings that I've got set up.
We're learning so much more and more about you every day.
I know.
Matthew.
What an adventure. Maybe that's my spark, TV settings.
There is an absolute quality about the almost photorealism animation.
Oh, the animation. Like,
it's cartoonish, but it's...
That opening scene, his sweater... just that he's wearing, the way it moves is incredible.
And then just because he lives in New York, and just like having been there once upon a time, it felt like New York. It's the vibe that you get from that place.
I agree. Some of the aerial shots of New York, I was looking at it going, did they just send a helicopter up?
And shoot it.
Because it looks amazing.
Like even in the trailer, like there's a shot of Joe using a piece of chalk on a chalkboard, and the way the chalk falls, the way the chalk rubs off on the board, like that sort of animation shouldn't exist.
No, I know. It's, for me, I think they still do them. Obviously, there wasn't one for this because it was at home, but when Pixar did the cinema releases, they always did the little shorts beforehand. And there was a short, I think it may have been before Finding Dory, that was a hermit crab or something going into the sea, and sort of its mum was trying to encourage it to not be afraid of the waves that kept coming in. And it looked amazing, but the sand and the water animation was photoreal.
Yeah.
Which, to me, is like, no, that shouldn't be possible. But apparently Pixar have cracked it. And this film, for me, has continued that high quality of animation where some shots, yes, you know that the people aren't real, like they are all cartoony and everything, but... to look at, it's just so lifelike, and the way it moves, all the camera movements are also quite real. They feel like there's actually a cameraman there. I'm not sure what computer power they're using over at Pixar, but it must be immense.
It would be insane.
It would keep your feet warm, that's for sure. Now, we should talk a little bit more about the story here and the themes that it goes through, because there's a lot of quite full-on stuff going on here.
This gave me cry.
And the audiences that they're aiming for here is obviously still kids, but there is a real message for us older kids as well. And we know in this that Joe, he's a bit... he's got a bit of tunnel vision about what he wants to achieve in life. And it makes him, not really appreciate what actually else is going on in his life. And this story is a lot about him and 22, 22 played by Tina Fey.
She was great as well in this.
Fantastic. Trying to understand the differences that can bring them together to achieve what they want to achieve. And in this, Joe, he wants to be a musician, and he's a paid musician. He's a middle school teacher. He probably feels like this isn't achieving. I want to be on the stage. I want to be seen. And he kind of gets that opportunity, but it isn't sort of what he was hoping it would be.
It's a bit of a hollow kind of dream in the end,
And we're introduced to, when he is thrown into this ethereal plane, that there's these ideas of these lost souls, people who become this tunnel vision, and they sort of lose what they're doing, and they can't see life for what it is, and they become these lost souls, which they visualize beautifully in this as well. And then you see that is the risk here. That is the fear that you can fall into this trap and you just become lost and purposeless.
But thankfully in the movie, Graham Norton has taken it upon himself to try and rescue as many as he can, and that some of the funnier moments are with him sort of opening the eyes of these lost souls, and they suddenly realize, oh, what am I doing with my life? That kind of thing.
Now, Graham Norton plays a character called Moonwind, and he is a living person with other people who are living people, have worked out a way to ascend into this ethereal zone that's called about being in the zone. So they're able to transcend themselves rather comically into this other area where they interact with 22 and Joe. They just go on these beautiful adventures and exploring, what does it mean to have a soul, I think?
I think it might sound a bit on the nose us saying that, but I don't think all three of us can stress enough how subtle and how beautifully this film does that. Like, it really explores that theme really nicely.
I really appreciate in the film they demonstrate, they physically show the closeness there is between the concept of being in the zone and being a lost soul, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that is just such an adult theme. This does not feel like a kid's movie.
No, and that's the thing is Pixar have always sort of, you think about some of the jokes in, especially Bug's Life comes to mind, when those jokes are in there for the parents who have taken their kids along. The kids don't get the joke, but I think it might be fair to say this is the first film where they've done that with themes that kids won't get until they're older.
I think
is that
they
fair?
probably did that with Inside Out as well.
I haven't seen Inside Out, I must say. I'd need to watch
Also,
that.
you know, in a lot of those examples, the jokes are in there for the parents to sort of get them through the film and keep enjoying it. In this, you know, it's the themes for the adults that are the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are the
precisely.
film. What they are talking about is for everyone that's in there. And I think this will go over the heads of a lot of younger
Yeah, it's
kids.
in a
Because there are
strange-
some
sorry.
really scary moments as well towards the end of the film.
No, there is some of the character designs and designs. Sorry, set designs, that kind of thing. They toy with it. They manipulate it to create all these different kind of feelings just through what you're looking at. So this film as well, talking about jokes in there to get the parents through the movie. This film I feel like was almost made for our generation who grew up on Toy Story, and it's kind of like going, those kids that were our original audience are grown up now. Let's kind of make a film for them. That's kind of what it felt like to me in a way. It's sort of like, hey, how are you guys doing? Just checking in on you.
Okay, yeah. Definitely, yeah. We're the audience for it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably stress to any parents out there thinking of taking their children to see this movie that parents, you're probably the audience for this. You are.
Yeah. There's definitely stuff in there for kids, and it's definitely a film that kids can watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think they're going to miss probably some of the bigger plot points of the messages that it's trying to hand across that aren't bashing you over the head with it either.
No, it was so refreshing.
They're not going, check out our themes, bang, bang, bang. It's like, no, okay, this is, it's a nice, I don't think it's a subtle message. It's just, it's a message.
Yeah, and it tells it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tells it well.
I thought the structure was a little weird, I would say. I think the first act of this film probably comprises maybe half of the film, and the following two acts sort of relegated to the last half of the film. They sort of not rush through it, but they spend a lot of time sort of setting up a lot here. They do, which I mean, with the complex themes we've got here, that's sort of understandable. But by the time that Joe reaches the what is it, the Great Before, I think you're about 30 to 45 minutes into the film.
But by the same token, though, I did think that the middle of the film started to drag a little bit, and only because it became a little predictable in the middle. It just sort of became a bit of a sort of chase movie for me. It's like they're just trying to get to a place in time. So that felt like it stalled a bit because it felt like the writers were trying to invent things to stall them, to stop them from getting there on time. But that's probably my only real complaint with the structure is that little middle bit there. The film's at its strongest. Even though New York looks amazing, the film's at its strongest when they're in the Great Before.
I disagree. I think
really?
New York bits are just excellent.
Okay. Oh, they're not bad. I enjoyed the imagination of the other world they created.
That was phenomenal too. The Great Before that they create is just the animation that goes on in the Terrys.
Yeah, Jerry's and Terrys.
The Jerrys and the Terrys is just beautiful in how they move, and things are borderless, and just creating those sort of things, and how they can giving these souls that are about to become babies their personalities and their attributes and stuff like that was just perhaps simplified, but nice.
Yeah,
I think Pete Docter, who directed this film, was probably one of the strongest Pixar directors they've got.
Potentially, yeah. If he was a doctor, he'd be Dr. Pete Docter.
Yeah, that'd be confusing.
Thank you for your input.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Because now he's done this. He's done Inside Out, which is another sort of a meditation on on human cognitive ability.
Just to clarify, I should definitely see Inside Out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
If this gave you cry, that's gonna tear you apart.
Oh, I can't wait.
And if you can, watch the short that goes along with that as well.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the two mountains singing to one another.
Oh, that's lovely.
The two volcanoes singing to one another in the ocean. That I was crying before the film started in Inside Out. I was like, if this is just this bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to Bing Bong. Let's move back onto Soul now. That'll make sense when
so I'm lost now, but that's okay.
When you watch it. Where are we up to with talking about
I think we're
Soul?
just really, really happy with it.
I think we're all really happy with what Soul is, aren't we?
I have to admit, I did see the trailer and I thought this looks quite good. But I don't know if it would be fair for me to say I was looking forward to seeing it. Now, I do love Pixar movies. I grew up on them. But this one, judging from the trailer, I thought, it's kind of lost. You got your Toy Story, your Bug's Life, your Cars, I think we all agree Cars is the weaker of the Pixar's offerings. But this one I thought, well, what's other than like we can go and see sort of this Soul world, I couldn't quite understand its hook from the trailer.
Right.
Whereas all the other Pixar films, you go, well, this one's about insects and this one's about toys that come to life. But once you see the film, you suddenly realize that it doesn't need just a fun hook that toy. I mean, it's still got fun stuff in it, but it's just the story and the characters that just completely suck you in pretty quickly after about 10 minutes.
I was really disappointed when I heard that Pixar films are always like a staple of Christmas for me, I feel. And I was a little bit worried that we wouldn't be able to see one this year with COVID going on. I'm very, very happy that I was able to stream it, but I really did miss the cinema experience.
I would have loved to have seen this in the cinema.
It would have been good. So was this planned to be a cinema release initially?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If you watch the specials that are available on Disney Plus, there's a whole one on how they worked on this film from home.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and how they made that work.
That's insane.
Now, I do have a question. It's more of an industry question, so it doesn't relate specifically to this film, but so this film and Wonder Woman have come out within a week or so of themselves.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers are doing the streaming thing on HBO Max in the States, but they are still releasing films in the cinema. So could Disney have done the Disney Plus thing that they've done, but also released it in cinemas? Do you think?
I think that's a question of PR as well. I think I don't know what sort of publicity rounds that Gal Gadot and all that are doing for Wonder Woman, but I feel like if it was a physical release in a theater, Disney would have to spend an extra,
well, it's all money, isn't it?
$1 million to get people around the world to.
No, that's a fair point.
Surely that's a drop in the ocean for Disney.
Yeah,
but I mean, you can't really exactly send people around the world at the moment to.
I also
promote a film.
I also think they're just on a Disney Plus push at the moment, and they're just.
Hey, look, it is working for them currently. It is. Yeah, no, I'll give them that. But choice is always good. I do wonder if anything that Disney now make for Disney Plus will ever get a physical release. I doubt it somehow. Because I know that Amazon still released their originals actually on Blu-ray afterwards. Anyway, a little off topic. I just thought it was interesting that Warner Brothers are still doing the cinema thing, and Disney have decided to go fully digital, no option of
with their streaming
thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's working out for them, and I hope that all their Star Wars things that they've got planned. Surely they'll be cinema releases. But anyway, that's beside the point.
And look, on the one side, I was able to watch this at home without having to tell people to get off their phones or anything, and I could pause it if I had to go to the toilet. So there are pros and cons to each option, really.
I think before we wrap up, I just wanted to bring up one point about, I don't know quite what this means, but when they're in the great beyond and they float off into this ether, this beautiful white bright light, and they pass through it, and you get a zzz, like a buzz, a bug, a bug zapping noise as they pass through into the great beyond. Like what do I take from that?
Are they saying that this is actually a metaphor for those two flies in, is it Bug's Life with the fly zapper, or is it Toy Story? I can't remember which one it is.
It's Bug's Life.
Don't head towards the light. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that sound effect. That is a strange choice. It is funny though. It made me laugh. Like there were some really good deadpan moments of humor in this. Is it? I can't say his last name correctly, but it's Richard Ayoade.
Yeah.
He's great in this. It's only a small part, but I loved his sort of to get his kind of comedy through his delivery was really nice for his Jerry that he played.
Rachel House is also a part of it. This is Rachel. She's the woman who plays the cop in Hunt for the Wilder People.
Oh, terrific!
Yep. This is, I think, her second voice role as well. She was in Moana.
So she plays Terry, doesn't she?
She plays Terry.
She's really dropped her voice down for that, hasn't she? Yeah. She's great as the cop in the Hunt for the Wilder People. That's terrific.
She's great in Moana as well.
I haven't seen Moana.
And Ragnarok. She's in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Of course she is. Yeah.
She's the space cop of sorts.
Yeah, space cop.
You need to work on your animation watching this year, I think.
I do enjoy a nice animation. I mean, I love, obviously Star Wars: The Clone Wars is the obvious example, but I've always loved Pixar films. I think WALL-E is possibly one of my favourites of all time. But I definitely like with Moana, and I haven't seen Inside Out, and I can think of a few others that I haven't got around to seeing yet. So I'm kind of glad that we were doing this because I loved seeing this film, and I think if we weren't doing this, I would have not seen it for another year or so.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I think it's fair to say that we can probably wrap up because
Sure.
go see the film.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
When I say go see the film, if you've got it at home, just go and watch it. And I don't know, hug your family afterwards.
Have some tissues.
Go enjoy life afterwards.
Yeah.
Make the most of your blink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before you head into the great fly zapper in the sky.
There we go.
I don't know if it makes me more comfortable knowing that it might be a fly zapper.
That seems really elaborate for, eternal, damnation is, it's a treadmill leading into a fly zapper. I feel like you could get there.
Damnation? What are you talking about? They're going into the ether.
Eternal ether. Then I feel like it's an elaborate setup. Maybe go for something similar, like a hand that pushes people into a hole or something like that.
Like a meat grinder kind of thing.
Yeah.
Thinking like Gerald Scarf's animation from Pink Floyd The Wall. I don't know if anyone knows what that is.
I haven't.
Just that one was just for me and my dad then.
Congratulations on fitting in a Pink Floyd reference, Matthew. Episode 1 for 2021, and you've got it in there.
I'm doing well. I'm trying to think of how I can get into Wonder Woman next week now.
You leave Roger Waters alone. Okay, let's give this thing a rating.
I think it needs to be out of Blinks, doesn't it? Now
out of Blinks or Zaps or
Blinky Zaps.
Blinks
are good.
Sparks.
Yeah, of course. It has to be Sparks. Yeah. Who wanna?
I'll go first. Yeah. This was a wholesome movie. I needed this film in my life, and it was such a wonderful way to start the year off with this. It was so. It does feel like a warm hug. This film really does. It's so welcoming, and it's got such great characters. You understand what the story is. It is sad in places, but I think fair to say for good reason. Like you understand what's going on and why. So this was terrific. I will definitely watch this again. I'm going to give it a solid. No, a lucid 4.5. A solid would be a 4, but 4.5 is lucid. So there you go.
Alex, you know?
Yeah, I'm really happy with this film, even though it made me really question my existence and what to do with my life. I'm really happy just to give this a 5. Oh. It's just like you say, it's warm. It makes you question things. It challenges you as well. And there are some really scary moments in the film, perhaps visually and existentially. And, but that's okay. I thought maybe Joe's character was probably annoying at times, but that was his character. That's what he was doing. And he had to learn a lesson to change his outlook on life. And that's paid off really well. Yeah, so just a 5 from me.
Very nice.
I do agree with you that it was challenging, and I feel like the challenging bit of it sort of took me out of the emotion of the story sometimes, and I didn't come away feeling like I have with other Pixar films. I really, really wanted to feel that emotional home run, and I don't feel like it didn't give me cry like it maybe did you, Matt.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 4 because the rest of this film was just off the charts, like excellent quality, excellent writing, excellent music. But yeah, I still have a little bit of an issue with the structure of it, but on the whole, really, really fantastic movie.
Yeah. So we're all sort of just like...
We're all quite calm today. It's nice. Makes a change, doesn't it?
There's a lot to meditate on here.
There is.
A lot to meditate on, yeah.
Is Trailer Island one of my sparks? Is podcasting one of my sparks? Don't know.
You set yourself up for this, Steve. You've got to answer it now.
God. Why am I here? This has been Trailer Island. I guess you could catch us on the socials, but I mean, you've got better things to do with your life.
Okay, let's just sit back, relax. Yes, we've been the Trailer Island podcast. And yes, you can find us on all the socials, Facebook, all those things. Send us a message if you want to see something. If you want us to talk about something, send us a message. We've got a couple from you over the last couple of weeks, and we look forward to bringing those to you soon enough. I've been Alex. I've been joined by...
Matthew.
Number 43.
Oh, Steve, you're okay. You're okay,
Go sit in the shade. You'll be okay.
You'll be all right. Don't worry, we'll bring you back. You'll bring some energy back when we talk about Wonder Woman next week, I'm sure. You've got a few things to say about that. Oh, you poor thing. We've been the Trailer Island Podcast. Thank you for joining us for the first episode of 2021. That was Soul, and we'll catch you next week on another episode of the Trailer Island Podcast. Good night.
This is a Narrative Network podcast.